Hello students, welcome to a class of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is your employability and life skill module. You have already studied a couple of things in entrepreneurship. So today, continuing your study further, we will be learning about various market segments and also we'll be learning a little bit about survey forms. Dear students, in your previous entrepreneurship classes, you had studied about business entities and you had also studied about market research. So in this class today students, the lesson objective is at the end of this class, you should be able to identify various market segments, prepare a survey form. So students, we will be discussing two topics in this class today. In the first topic, we will be focusing on market segments. So market segments basically refer to to your customers, that is how your customers can be grouped into different market segments, and then we will also learn how to prepare a survey form. So you students are already aware of a survey form. Recently you have done this survey about NESC online class. So students, let's proceed. Dear students, please take out your entrepreneurship textbook and open chapter 2. Please refer to the topic 2.5, which is identifying various segments of market. So students, before proceeding to the topic mentioned in your textbook, now let us first understand this by using an example. Please look at this image. Can you see a guy? So this person is on a van and he's carrying a lot of equipments. He has different kinds of equipments here. It includes all these construction equipments, then maintenance equipments, housekeeping equipments, and it is written jack of all trades. So I think you might have heard this proverb, jack of all trades, master of none. So do you know what it means? Jack of all trades, master of none means a person who knows a little of everything. He knows a lot of things, but he is not good or he is not perfect with any of those things. For example, I may know a little bit of electrical work, I know a little bit of carpentry, I know a little bit of construction, I know a little bit of computer, I know a little bit of cooking, I know a little bit with medicine, maybe I am a homeopathic doctor. So it's like I know everything, but I'm not perfect with anything. So this kind of person is referred as jack of all trades, master of none. Now imagine you are a service provider. So basically you are an electrician, you do electrical work. Okay, so people call you for anything related to electrical connections. Maybe they have to have a new connection in their house, electrical connection, or if there is something not working in their house, so they will call you. Similarly, suppose you also know a little bit of plumbing, so people will also call you if their water connection in the house is not working properly. Similarly, imagine you know a little bit of carpentry also, so people will also call you to their house if they have to construct something from wood. Similarly, suppose you know a little bit of computer also, so people will also call you if there is something, if they have any problem with their computers or laptops. Now see, you are doing 5-6 works, you know little everything, but you are not perfect with anything. So in that case, what happens is it is very difficult for you to work as a person, because you are getting calls from person who wants to get his computer repaired, you are getting calls from customers who want their electrical connection to be repaired, you are getting calls for carpentry, you are getting calls for any other work you do. So the challenge here is you are not able to focus on one particular thing. So if someone asks you what you do, you don't have an answer. You cannot say I'm an electrician, I'm a software guy, or a computer hardware guy, I'm a carpenter. You don't have an answer. It's like you know everything, but you are not perfect with anything. So when this scenario happens, it is difficult to work. So the same thing applies to a retailer also. Okay, so if it is a very big retail chain or supermarket or hypermarket where everything is sold, then it is okay. Imagine it's a small kiosk, not kiosk exactly, Maybe imagine it's a brick and mortar store. Now as a retailer, suppose you are the owner of that store. Now if you start selling everything in your store, it will be very difficult for you to manage the store. Suppose you are selling apparels, you are selling food products, you are selling sports goods, you are selling footwear, you are selling bags and accessories, then again you are selling electrical goods, you are also selling some machinery, you are also selling motor parts of cars and all. So do you think it is possible for you to manage everything in the retail store? It will be very difficult because you are not sure what you are selling. Customers can come to you asking anything. Okay, they can come to you asking for a needle, they can come to you asking for a generator. So this is an example. So as a retailer, it will be very difficult for you to operate if you don't know what you are selling. Okay, so the thing you should do here is, so what things retailer do is, or any businessman do is, they segment the market. Okay, so we will learn in detail in our next slides about this market segmentation. So I believe now you understood what is jack of all trades. So jack of all trades is like you know everything, a little bit of everything, but you are not sure, not confident with anything. Same thing applies to a retailer. You are selling everything in your store, but you are not sure what do you want to sell properly. I mean, you don't know if you are an apparel retailer, you are a food products retailer, or you are a shoes retailer, or accessories retailer, or bag retailers. So you don't have a proper set of merchandise which you are selling in your store. Dear students, now let us understand what is market segmentation. Market segmentation is the process of dividing a market of potential customers into groups or segments based on different characteristics. The segments created are composed of customers who will respond similarly to marketing strategies and who share traits such as similar interests, needs, or locations. So students, market segmentation is basically the process of grouping your customers into different segments. So each segment will consist of customers who have similar interests. Okay, so let me explain this to you with an example. Suppose after you complete your course in NESC, you want to start a business of your own. So suppose you want to open a shop. Now when you open a shop, you have to decide what you want to do. You want to open a grocery shop where you will sell all the grocery items, or you want to open an apparel shop where you want to sell all the clothes and all, or you want to open a footwear shop where you want to sell footwear, or you want to open a computer or mobile phone electronic store where you want to sell electronic items, or you want to sell motor parts, car parts, that one, or you want to sell other hardware products for construction and all. So you will have to decide only one thing you have to do. You cannot open a shop which is selling everything, because then it will be very difficult for you to maintain. So what a person who wants to be an entrepreneur or wants to start his business, he has to do is he has to select a particular group of customers. Okay, suppose you are opening a motor parts showroom shop, then your customers are the people who have cars or bikes and who will come to you asking for that particular products related to cars or bikes. Similarly, if you are opening a grocery shop, people will come to you asking for groceries only. So a customer will not come. Suppose you have a grocery shop, a customer will not come to you asking for clothes. Similarly, if you have a motor parts shop, a customer will not come to you ask for groceries. So in this case, you have a clear-cut picture before you, these are the customers which I am going to target. So that is market segmentation. Now market segmentation, I believe you understood now, that is you are grouping the customers depending on their needs and wants, and each customer in that particular segment will have similar needs. For example, suppose you are opening an apparel shop. Now when you say apparel, it can be children apparel, babies and children, then it is for men and women. So suppose you are opening a apparel shop only for men. So in that case, a lady will not come to you asking for a lady's dress. Similarly, you are opening an apparel shop only for women. So then a man will not come to you asking for shirt or pant. Similarly, it's a kids wear shop, then only products available will be for the kids. Similarly, suppose you are opening a shop for Indian wedding collection and wedding and all. So there no one will come asking you for a like casual dress, okay, like t-shirt, jeans, like that. So I believe now you understand what is market segmentation. It is like dividing the market into different segments of customers who have common interest, and as an entrepreneur you will have to target only one segment or two segments. You cannot target the entire market. In that you have to target only one segment, and your products or offerings should be according to that segment. So if you are opening a kids wear shop in your store, so only goods which are available should be related to kids. There may be some toys also, but all things will be related to kids only. Similarly, if you are opening a menswear shop, then all your goods should be related to men, including belts or some accessories and dress and all. Similarly, if it is for women, all will be for women only. And you cannot expect a man coming to your menswear shop and asking for men clothes. Dear students, after understanding what market segmentation is, now let us understand who is my target market segment. So now let us imagine that after completion of your course at NESC, all of you are becoming entrepreneurs. That is, you are starting your own business. Now when you start your own business, you have to first decide who is your target market. So now what are the factors you will consider while deciding your target market? So the first factor is product and service. So depending on what product or what service you are offering, you will have to decide your target market. For example, if you are opening a kids wear shop, then your target market is for children, babies. You cannot expect an adult coming to your store and asking for his products. Similarly, if you are opening a medicine shop or a pharmacy, then your target market is different. You cannot expect people coming to your pharmacy and asking for groceries or asking for any other apparels or asking for electronic goods. Similarly, if you are opening an electronic shop where you are selling phones, TV and other white goods, so in that case you cannot expect customers coming to your store and asking for groceries. So the first thing you have to make sure is your product or service. Depending on your product and service, you will have to decide who is your target market. Now next one is customers age, gender, income, marital status and occupation, etc. So now suppose you open a shop, suppose you all are in Guwahati and you all are becoming entrepreneurs. Now suppose you open your shop in a very posh locality in Guwahati. Suppose you open your shop in Christian Bachchi GS Road. Now in that location, what you have to see, what are the customer income group there. By customer income group means people who are coming to your shop, how they are they upper middle class or the middle class, lower like below poverty line? Who are your targets? Okay, so you have to decide like whom you are targeting depending on the customers, like income, gender, then occupation and all these factors you have to decide. Now example is, suppose Marks and Spencer. So Marks and Spencer is a shop whose customer target is different compared to Vishal. People who come to Vishal are normally maybe from middle class or lower middle class. Similarly, customers who come to Marks and Spencer will be little bit higher than the middle class, like people who can spend more. Similarly, any other brand you take, for example Louis Philippe, if you take Louis Philippe, so their target is again upper middle class and all. Similarly, if you take a smaller shop on the roadside in Beltola who is selling clothes, so their target segment will be different. So depending on the customer's income and age group, also gender, you have to decide like what is your target market. For example, suppose you are selling products targeting the age, like suppose best example is Ed Hardy. So when you went to Ed Hardy, if you remember Ed Hardy, they told that they are targeting the younger customer base. So they are targeting youngsters. So their product line is like that, if you see. So they are like more flashy t-shirts, more flashy shirts and all. Similarly, imagine we go to a shop where they are targeting little bit aged customers, maybe customers who are 40 and above. So those clothes may not be very flashy or more design and all. They'll be like more plain and sober. So depending on your customer's age, gender, income, marital status, you have to decide your target segment. The third most important thing is competitor. Now this is a very important thing. Suppose for example you are opening a grocery shop in your home, like wherever you stay you are opening a grocery shop there. Now in your locality, suppose there are already 20 grocery shops in that same road where you are staying. Do you think it is any worth of opening a grocery shop again there? Because already there are 20 grocery shops. So in that case you have to, so all these 20 grocery shops are your competitors because they are also selling the same product. So there is possibility that customers will go to their shop and they will be pulling your customers. So they are your competitors. So depending on your competitors also you have to decide your market segment. So entering a business which is already very much competitive or which is already saturated, it is not a very good idea always. Okay, so you have to decide what product you want to sell depending on what is your target segment, depending on the competitors. So you have to see, like, if competition is too much. Okay, nowadays many retailers are going online because they think that online opportunity is more, and depending on the location where you are, depending on the other kinds of shops in the locality, you have to decide who is your target segment. And now the last and very important one is current customer base. So depending on what product or service you want to do, you have to decide, make sure you first have a knowledge about the customer base. Suppose you open a kidswear shop. Okay, suppose you open a kidswear shop, but the problem there is there are not many kids in that locality. There are very few children in that locality. So in that case your customer base is like very much limited. You don't have much option. Your customer base is very much limited there because there are not many children. So in that case opening a kidswear shop may not be a very good idea. Similarly, suppose you open a shop for motor part shop. Okay, you are opening a motor part shop, but the problem there is in that locality there are not many cars, bikes or any other vehicle. So in that case your customer base is very limited. Very few people have cars in that locality. So there are chances that very few people will come to you to buy your products. Okay, so this is your so you have to, while deciding your market segment, you have to make sure that you have ample number of customers. So you should have ample number of customers who can come and buy your product. So students, I believe now you have understood a little bit about how to decide your target segment. So these are the 4 very important factors. First one is your product and service, then your customer's gender, income, marital status, occupation, etc., the customer profile. Then you have to check your competitors, and last and most important, you have to see your customer base, that how many customers, potential customers are there in that locality or place where I am starting my business. Dear students, now let us check some products and see what their target segment is. Please look at the image here. The first product is Kindle. I think all of you have heard about Kindle. So Kindle is a book reader. So this is like a smartphone where people can download books and then they can read. So this is like, this product is used only for reading books. It's like, it looks like a smartphone, but it is not a smartphone. You cannot make a call using this, or you cannot do a video chat using this. Okay, so this is only for reading books. So you can download books, you can buy books online and then read here. Now when you see Kindle, what do you think the target segment is? So here the target segment is obviously people who like to read and who like to read online. Now there will be some people who like to read from books only, like paper books. But then there is a group of people who want to read things in their smartphones, or who like to read things in the online version. So they are basically targeting people who like to read online. And then they are targeting corporates and professions, basically people who can afford a Kindle and who have interest for reading, and they are basically targeting corporates and professionals. So they are not targeting here any maybe they are not targeting people who are not very interested in reading online. So they have limited customers and they are targeting them only. They are not targeting someone who likes to read a newspaper. Maybe they are also targeting indirectly, but they are not targeting someone who likes to read a paper version form of a newspaper. And then they are targeting people who are on the move, that is people who have to travel a lot for business, who cannot carry like paper books with them, who cannot carry the physical books with them. They are targeting those people who have to keep on moving, they cannot carry luggage in the form of books, so they can download the book online and then they can read. So Kindle is targeting these kind of customers. Dear students, the next product is KTM bike, that is Duke. Now when you see this bike, whom do you think the company is targeting? Are they targeting people, very old people who cannot ride bikes, or are they targeting youngsters or people who have a passion for riding? Right, they are definitely targeting people who want to ride bikes. So people who ride bikes, who want to ride faster, who want to go for trips, like trips here and there, long distance trips. So they are targeting those people. So if you see, the target segment for this bike is people who like to ride solo trips. Now this bike has very strong and powerful engine, so it has like good speed, quick acceleration. So basically for youngsters who like to ride fast, and they are targeting the young generation. They are definitely not targeting people above 60 or above 50, like who want to be more safe and secure. So they are targeting young blood who want to have adventure, who want to go for trips, long trips, who want to ride on mountains, who want to ride on different terrains. So that is your target segment. So when they are making this bike, they are focusing on those customers only. They are not targeting anyone like very small school child or a baby. They are not targeting them, or a lady maybe. Some ladies might like to ride, maybe aged lady or aged man. So they are not targeting them. So students, with this we complete our learning on market segmentation. I believe you have understood what is market segmentation and why we do market segmentation, and what market segment we have to target when you try to become an entrepreneur. Dear students, now let us move to the second part of this class. So we will be learning about survey form. Surveys are a method of gathering information from individuals. Surveys have a variety of purposes and can be conducted in many ways. Surveys may be conducted to gather information through a printed questionnaire, over the telephone, by mail, in person, or on the web. So students, I believe you already know what is a survey. So when you have studied market research, you came to know about this, that people do survey to know what other people think. Suppose I am doing a research on a particular topic, and if I do a survey, so I will do this basically to know what other people think about this topic or about that matter. So survey is a method of gathering information from different individuals. Now surveys will obviously have different purposes. If I am doing any research, I will have a particular purpose of doing the research, so I will have an objective. So survey will help me to have more information will give me more insights about the topic. And surveys can be conducted in different ways. It can be a printed questionnaire, or it can be over the telephone, or it can be over email, or in person in the form of an interview, or it can be online. So recently when you had done this online class feedback about NESC, it was on the web, like wherein it was conducted in Google questionnaire, and you had entered your feedback or information in the sheet. So how you already know how a survey form looks, because you had recently done that survey, you already saw it. So this is how a survey. So look at this image here. So this is a survey form in the form of a printed questionnaire, wherein questions are there and you have to tick. Similarly, the one you had done about NESC was on the web, wherein you had to click and the information was already collected. So when you do a survey by using printed questionnaire, so the person who is conducting the survey, he has to manually again gather the information, like he has to manually note down whatever information the people who entered the survey gave you. But when it is done online, like on NESC survey, the information is already collected online, and then you can directly make inferences from the information. Dear students, Now let us understand why a survey is conducted, that is, the reasons for conducting a survey. The first reason is a policy needs to be set. For example, you want to make a new rule or you want to make a new policy. In that case, you have to, and you need feedback from other people or inputs from other people, then you have to do a survey to know their feedback. For example, you work in a company and you have been given the task by the organization to set up a policy for disposing of materials which have which are nearing extinction, which are nearing expiry. Suppose you work in a retail store and you have been asked to set up a policy to dispose of the products which are nearing expiry. Now in that case, you may also need information from, but while setting up the policy you will need information from your colleagues or people who are working in the warehouse or people who are working on the floor. So to get their inputs, what you can do is you can do a survey. We can set up a few questions, maybe 10 questions, wherein ask you like what kind of products, what policy you want for this disposing of. So in that case you will get information from all these people, and then using that information you can make the policy. So this information will give you more insights and also will help you. So you will basically get knowledge from them. You will get to know what their experience is while disposing of products, and you can use their experience with your knowledge to make up a new policy. Now the next one is to check effectiveness of a program. To check effectiveness of a program, best example is NESC online survey. So we have been conducting NESC online classes for almost 2 months now, and we wanted to know like how effective our program is. We wanted to check if you are finding the online classes useful or not. So that is the reason we conducted that survey, wherein we got feedback from you and your parents. You remember, you also gave your suggestions like what things can be done to improve the classes. So this is so to know what you are doing is correct or it's going good or not, you can do a survey. So that is the reason, to check the effectiveness of any program which you are running, you have to do a survey. And the last one is to conduct market research. So to conduct research, now suppose you are researching on a particular topic, that is you are trying to find out something about a topic. In that case, to get information from people, you have to do a survey. So I will give you a real example here. So during my MBA, I had done internship with Indian Oil. So Indian Oil, if you know, there are two types of oil. One is the normal petrol and then there is extra premium petrol. The price of normal petrol is little bit less compared to extra premium petrol. So when I was so my research was related to extra premium petrol. So I was working in this Tinsukia division of Indian Oil, and in that division the sale of extra premium petrol was very less. Okay, the extra premium petrol was very less. So the internship or the task assigned to me is I had to find out the reasons why sale of extra premium oil is less in Tinsukia division. So for that case, I had prepared a questionnaire and I had done a survey wherein I had set up few questions. I had gone to different petrol pumps, I had gone on to the market, I had spoken to different people who ride cars or other vehicles and asked them what oil they buy and why they don't buy extra premium, what benefits people who are buying extra premium, what benefits they are getting from it, and people who are not buying it, are they interested to buy. So I had collected a lot of information, and with that I had submitted my understanding on the topic, like why sales of extra premium is less. So that is, when you are trying to find something new about a topic, you can do a survey to know what other people know, the reasons why something is happening. Suppose anything is happening, you have to do a survey to know why this is happening. You get inputs from other people. So students, I believe now you understood why a survey is conducted. That is to set up a new policy, to check the effectiveness of an existing policy or existing program, and also to conduct research. So students, with this we complete our class today, where we had learned about market segmentation and then a bit about survey. So please read your textbook, and check this video. Do let me know if you have any questions. I will see you again soon. Have a great day.